Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I know you're waiting for your turkey dinner. Well, it's Tuesday. It's November 21st, 2017 day on our calendar, and I'm doing my Thanksgiving show a couple days in advance, and I usually do that to warn the turkeys to get the hell out of town. Yes, turkeys, if you're listening, all you turkeys out there, get out of town because the people are after you. I've seen some of your brothers in the store already frozen, and but it's not enough, and I know there's people still looking for turkeys. So if you turkeys out there are listening, get out of town because Thursday isn't your day. It's Black Thursday for all of the turkeys in America. Wow, why do we eat turkey for Thanksgiving? Why not a good vegetarian meal and allow the turkeys to live? We only do, you know what? That ceremony on the White House is kind of like the hangman giving one person out of millions a reprieve. You see, the dogs, they want to get rid of this too. You see what they're doing? Barking, 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 barking. Yes, that one turkey that gets a reprieve. It's kind of like the hangman, you know, coming and saying, nope, we're going to save you and we're going to kill millions of others. And maybe that's what they plan to do with us. And do you want to be that one person that's saved? What do you think? Wow. But I again ask you, and I do it every Thanksgiving, I give the turkeys a couple days warning to get out of Dodge. And I spread the word through a website called SaveTheTurkeys.com. And believe it or not, it was started by a turkey who really thought that Thanksgiving was a racist holiday against their breed. He said, why not chickens? Why not doves? Why don't you include all the birds? Why us? Why do we have to go down en masse every Thanksgiving to people who sit on the couch with beer bellies and watching football games? That is not what we're all about. And folks, do you realize the importance of the turkey? Do you realize it's a noble animal? It's a noble bird. It's a bird that, my goodness, if you look at it, why would you want to eat it? I swear, when I was young, I was always taken to these turkey dinners for Thanksgiving. And they'd feed me turkey and turkey and turkey. And the reason they did is to put me to sleep because it has that tryptophan in it. So that was kind of, I wondered, what is tryptophan? Well, it's the turkey's revenge, I call it. Eat me and you're going to go to sleep. But anyway, turkeys out there in turkey land, please listen. Please listen good. Hide. Run to the bunkers. Your day is coming. The Americans are after you. They're going to slaughter millions of you for their personal enjoyment. And it's really not a holiday. Is that a holiday of Thanksgiving? And many people ask me, well, that's what the Pilgrims did with the Indians, and they were giving thanks that they could get along. And yet we killed 64 million of them after that, along with how many millions of turkeys? Now, most people think that's the first turkey dinner, but it really wasn't. I mean, Thanksgiving dinner. There was a Thanksgiving dinner prior to the one they tell us about in the history books, and I'll tell you about that. But I think if we really take a good hard look at ourselves, why do we have... I'm not eating any turkey. In fact, I've gone almost completely vegetarian, except, and I enjoy still some potato chips. But that's not a meat, is it? And, you know, I feel a lot better. Oh, occasionally I break down and have a little bit of something. But, you know, this ritual of we should change it, really. Why do we want to destroy all these turkeys? And anyway, Well, people will say, well, we eat chickens all year. We eat, ducks. We eat all this stuff. What's the difference if we eat turkey one day and we don't eat it much during the rest of the year? Well, I guess that's because we eat a lot of meat in America. A lot of cattle. You ever drive through Montana? Montana's a beautiful place, but every time I go by a cattle farm, it's like a graveyard to me. And, I love these Montana cattle people. If everybody was a vegetarian, they'd go out of business. And I love these Montana cattle people. They ride on their horses with their big white cowboy hats, America first, the whole thing. And all they really are doing is herding up a bunch of cows to get killed. And to me, it's been played up in the westerns and everything. But what's so noble about that? And when you come to think of it, if there were no cattle farmers, we would cut down on meat eating. People wouldn't be as fat, would be a lot healthier. And then we're going to get, red meat is not that bad for you. It isn't really good for you, And if you really do some studies into protein, you'll find that you can get just as much protein out of plant-based foods as you can out of animal food. But it isn't as good, is it, to dig into a big steak, a juicy, bloody steak? Oh, and then you say to this, you talk about the Satanists and say, how could they do that? Well, you're eating the blood of a cow. They eat blood of people. All right. So you got a little bit in common. Blood's going down the drain. One way or another, what you eat, there's been blood that is going down the drain. Now, if you go to a plant-based diet, that's not the case. And then I was talking about this, and then I had some people from the community of, plants are living creatures too. We shouldn't eat them. Okay, what are we going to eat? We all just starve to death. Then we turn into cannibals and we eat ourselves. So there's really no way around it. You're never going to please everybody all the time, are we? No, we are not going to please everybody all the time. And especially on Thanksgiving, we're not going to please these turkeys. I just got a call from the turkey.com, and many are running for the hills right now after they just heard my announcement. Yeah, I just received a note from turkey.com, and I've been honored this year, and been given an invitation to their annual turkey conference, and I'll be speaking on behalf of all the turkeys in the world. And they want to hear from me. They know I've talked and have tried to help them, tried to change this holiday, tried to change the eating habits of people, at least for one day. And I've really was going to use my law degree to make it a crime to eat a turkey on Thanksgiving. And anyone that would be eating turkey on Thanksgiving will be sent to a FEMA camp. And you'll be staying there for a long, long time until you repent. And the Grand Master Turkey will then come in and have a chat with you and maybe let you out. But again, I've been honored. I just saw it coming across on my email that I'll be speaking at the next turkey conference for all the work I've done over the years to try and save the turkey. And what can I do? There's a big, huge story going on in the turkey world regarding how the President of the United States picks that turkey, where he comes from, what his lineage is. And it seems to me that there's a good argument to be made that the turkeys of the world are quite upset. They grow up with the same idea. Every turkey can become the pardoned turkey by the President of the United States. That's what they grow up hearing. It's similar to us growing up hearing that every person has an opportunity to be the President of the United States if you're born in America. However, we quickly realized that if your bloodline isn't with Charlemagne or one of the high-powered elites from England and all the way down through the ages, you have no chance in hell to be president, so it's a big lie. And the same thing goes on in the turkey world. Yes, the turkeys have found out that the turkeys that get pardoned all come from elite bloodline Charlemagne families. Same thing. Those are the only turkeys that ever have a chance to be pardoned. And they want to end it. They want every turkey to have the opportunity to have a presidential pardon, just like every American would like the opportunity to be president if they weren't even born from Charlemagne. So we have a lot in common with our turkey friends. And so I think, just with that in mind, this is how I'm going to start out my speech. And there's supposed to be millions of turkeys there. I'm hearing it's going to be a big event, selling out right now as we speak when they heard I was there. You know, big speech. And you can fit a lot of little turkeys in a lot of turkeys in a small room. It isn't like we have to rent out the Staples Center or something. We can get a nice little garage and have a huge turnout. But anyway, think about it. So the turkeys find out that they can never become pardonable. So they know once they're born, they're slated to die every Thanksgiving. And so they've been fighting and fighting and fighting this hopeless battle to win recognition. Just like the American people are fighting a hopeless battle to win recognition as citizens who have a say in their government, which we finally learned out we never did, we never will, and we never have ever had a say in our government, learning the same thing the turkeys have learned. And the one thing we're going to have in common with our turkey friends is that we're going to be slaughtered just like them someday, put into these little camps, like they're sent to these turkey farms. You ever go to one? My goodness, they don't have enough room to pee, let alone enjoy a nice life. And now everybody from the turkey farm community is going to come down on me and go, "We treat them well. What are you talking about?" And I would say, "Yes, warden, you treat your turkeys quite well, just like the wardens of our prisons do, right? You treat them quite well, throw them in a little cell, leave them there till they die, or kill the ones that really upset you." And many of these people that go to, the gas chamber or however they do it now, are innocent. There was a guy, he's just recently spent 50 years in jail. Yes, 50 years in jail. And he's finally let loose, and they said, "Yeah, we made a mistake. It was somebody else." Well, thank you. How do I get my 50 years back? Now think about it. These poor turkeys, they haven't done anything to anybody. They're the cutest little things when they're born, just like people. And they grow up without ever harming anybody, which we can't say about a lot of people. And then we mass execute them on a day that we give thanks. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, am I a do-gooder? No. Have I eaten turkey on Thanksgiving in the past? Yes. Will I eat turkey ever again? No. I can't, because I'm speaking at their convention. And in fact, when you really think about it, we don't have to eat turkey. We don't have to eat chicken. We don't have to eat a lot of meat. And I'm a perfect example of it. I used to eat meat all the time, then I decided, something? I'm taking a stand for all my animal friends. And most people said, "Well, you're doing it for self-interest, just because you think you'll get healthier." And I said, yes, that's true. But I'm also doing it as protest for killing these innocent animals for no reason. I mean, think about it. I grew up in a dairy farm. I loved it. You milk the cow, you don't kill the cow. The cow gives milk. The milk is good for people. And then people say, "Well, there's a certain point when milk is, and you shouldn't eat dairy food." Well, that's probably true. But when you're young, what the heck? You drink your mother's milk. And I'm sure that milk from the cow, I remember when we used to drink it right from the cow. People say, "Oh, that's not good." Oh, it was good. I had to taste it. I mean, I milked so many when I was a young kid. And let me tell you though, I don't think I could have survived on a cattle farm, because I got so attached to those cows. We gave them names. We would talk to them. And I was so sad sometimes when one would pass on when they got old. And it was a sad, sad affair. And I started, thinking about animals in that respect. And so as I sit here honoring the turkey and saying, please do not eat turkey for Thanksgiving. I know you people are going to get mad at me saying I'm trying to ruin your holiday, but you can have just as much fun on Thanksgiving, giving thanks to God and everything. He's given you the turkey, but I don't know if he gave it to you just to eat. Now we're going to have a lot of Bible people coming up with me and saying, Greg, it's mandatory that people eat meat. The Bible says you can eat meat. Here's the way it lays. Animals eat each other. So why, that's not the point. They do it for survival. We don't need to survive by eating animals. We've given other foods that are just as good for us. And, and who am I to speak? I used to have a restaurant. I served meat on the menu and profited from it. But little do you know, when you know your bad ways, you change them. And especially using Turkey Day as a way to, one, help a species that pretty soon will be eliminated. Yes, we killed too many of them, just like the human being's going to be eliminated in America, because they're going to kill too many of us. So we should take a stand now for the turkey, and in the same time take a stand for ourselves and say, no, stop the New World Order. We're not going to allow you to kill us and put you in a FEMA camp, and we're going to not allow you to let our turkeys go into these terrible turkey farms, and then we're going to kill millions and millions of them on this day of execution, which we call Thanksgiving. It's not going to happen. That's what we should do. And that's why I'm speaking to you 2 days in advance, to let you know that I'm trying to let all the turkeys that are still surviving to get out of Dodge City. Americans are after you. And if and they don't have their turkey on the table, you're going to be right there. So I would suggest you find a nice hiding place, a nice bunker, settle down for a few days. Once Thanksgiving over, it'll all blow over. They prefer chicken and duck, so you're pretty clear after that. But then you can try to spread the word and help your duck and chicken friends to get Americans to eat more vegetables and more fruit. And the reason is, listen, we can start a campaign together. In fact, that's why I'm going to the turkey convention, to get the turkeys, and maybe we'll open it up this year. I've never had the honor to speak there. This will be the first time. But maybe we'll open it up to other birds of prey. And our campaign will be to get Americans to eat more vegetables and fruit. Why not? It's healthier. They won't be as fat. Do you ever see how many fat people there are in the world? It's incredible. Every day I go down the street and I see somebody that's really fat, and I go, how can they live like that? And I go, well, how can I live looking the way I do? I'm not pulling punches, but I don't think obesity is very healthy. For one, it cuts your life down. Your heart has a hard time functioning. And plus, you don't have to eat turkey and all this meat. All you got to, don't go to McDonald's and support those idiots. Eat vegetables and fruit. Help the turkeys, help the chickens, help all these animals. And you're doing a wonderful thing for them and a wonderful thing for yourself. And now I'm going to get called from all the overweight people. You're racist just because you're thin. You hate us. No, I don't hate you. I just don't think that you have to be that heavy. In the years past, if you look at people from years past, there wasn't the great obesity that we see today. And really, sometimes you just got to save it for what it is. They're making small cars now. You're not going to be able to fit in them, so you better start eating vegetables and fruit. They don't make big Cadillacs anymore. So, you're going to do a wonderful good deed to help save the turkeys. I'm going to report on the advances we make in this over the next 6 months before I speak at the convention of all turkeys of America. And they put on a great show. And you probably ask, well, what do they have on the menu? Well, it isn't meat. It isn't humans either. They don't get even with you and eat you like you eat them. It is a healthy, vegetable-based diet that many of these turkeys have come up with over the years, and they're experts at eating that kind of food. Yeah. I mean, when I was on a dairy farm, we didn't feed our cows chickens, and we didn't feed our ducks pigs. We didn't feed them. We fed them a plant, we fed soybeans. And you never see those big silos? Well, you grow soybeans, and you grow corn, and then you mash all that stuff together. That's why we had 250 acres. And you make your own food for the animals, but it doesn't come. We don't feed the cows pigs. We don't feed the pigs chickens. We don't feed the chickens ducks. We don't cross feed like that. We feed them a plant-based diet, and they seem to be very happy with it. Well, how come the human being has to eat their fellow brothers? Well, now I know the Native Americans will say, well, we had to eat buffalo because, we were starving. That's fine. If you're out in the cold, what are you going to do? It's an imperfect world. If God was smart, he wouldn't needed any of us to eat. Why did he have to give us that kind of body? Couldn't he give us something that we sustained ourselves through breathing and just water? No, did you see the story about the water? In America, they say that the problem in Flint, Michigan, we've all heard about that, is nothing compared to the way the water is, the contaminants in water in most of the states of the United States. And they said it's going to take $1 trillion over the next 25 years to clean the water of America. People are getting sick. $1 trillion isn't that much money. But they spend $1 trillion just the other day. How much did we give? $995 billion to NASA. We could fix our water if we wanted to, but these people want to kill you, just like they want to kill the turkey. Yes, just like they want to kill the turkey. And so together, I think we should understand that this Thanksgiving Day means a lot more than just sitting down, eating a turkey, watching football. And it's a day that we probably I think what we should do is start a day of Thanksgiving of fasting. Don't eat anything on turkey, on this supposed turkey day. And the turkeys are quite upset that we're calling it that, because it acts as if it's a really friendly day for them. Turkey Day, everybody celebrate the turkey. But actually, you're eating us. You're not celebrating us. We go Turkey Day, and turkeys say, well, look, that's not right. You're not celebrating us, you're eating us. So let's refrain first from calling it Turkey Day. Second, wouldn't it be great if we just fast that day? Don't eat anything? To really give thanks for what we have the rest of the year? And then we cut down on eating animals, and we get to a plant-based... Wow! What a new market that would be. We could really start using the land better. We don't have to create animals just to execute them. And it would be a better world, I think. So, I only do a half. I'm come back for the second half hour, and we'll do something else. I only do a half hour on the turkeys. And listen, I will give you a report on when I speak at the Turkey Convention. I've been honored with that, as I told you earlier, and we'll give you a full report when that occurs. So, I have a little sign on my car with with a little line, no Turkey Day. Okay, see you in 3 minutes on the Investigative Journal.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Okay, we're back on the Investigative Journal talking about Thanksgiving. Yes, I gave my warning to my turkey friends to get out of town, and I guess at the end of the break, the end of the last half hour, I said, well, we're all done, but I'm not. I forgot to talk about the first Thanksgiving, what we know about it, and then what was the real first Thanksgiving. And then we're going to talk about maybe how do we start eating turkey, because it didn't seem to be on the menu on the first Thanksgiving. And now I'm going to relate to you what we know, what historians tell us in the mainstream. First, about turkey wasn't the star of the meal on the first Thanksgiving, folks. The tryptophan-packed turkey wasn't the star during the first Thanksgiving, and that's not the only thing that's changed in the nearly 400 years since the holiday began. Much is unknown about the first recorded feast. Well, I know because I've been talking to my turkey friends, right? And they've kept vivid records of this, just so they could present a case before Congress and the Senate to make it a law that it's against the law to eat turkey on Thanksgiving. So I'll get to that later, maybe. Much is unknown about the first recorded feast between Pilgrims and Native Americans in the New World at Plymouth in 1621. Seems like a long time ago, but it's just yesterday. As historians have heavily relied on only 2 primary eyewitness accounts. Now, that doesn't sound, it sounds to me a little fishy, doesn't it? It's clear that the original festival doesn't have all that much in common with the all-American holiday recognized today with its focus on football, turkeys, more recently shopping sprees, Black Friday, stuff like that. It's Black Thursday for the turkeys. And then they call Black Friday, what's that? Everybody's so stuffed up. Then they jump in their cars and go running to the malls, or do they go to Amazon now on their computer? I don't know. More than 100 people attended, they say, the first Thanksgiving. The Wampanoag Indians who attended the first Thanksgiving had occupied the land for thousands of years and were key to the survival of the colonists during the first year they arrived in 1620. And look how we repaid them. They opened up their arms to us, and then we genocide them. According to the National Museum of the American Indian, after the Pilgrims successfully harvested their first crops in 1621, at least 140 people gathered to eat and partake in games, historians tell us. Yes, that's what they tell us. No one knows exactly what prompted the 2 groups to dine together, but there were at least 90 native men, 50 Englishmen present, according to Kathleen Wall, a colonial foodways culinarian at Plymouth Plantation. They most likely ran races and shot at marks as forms of entertainment. The English likely ate off tables while the native people dined on the ground. That seems a little bit racist. Come on, put them on the table with you. They didn't even put them at the children's table. They ate for 3 days. That's because they didn't eat all year. The festivities went on for 3 days, according to primary accounts. The nearest village of native Wampanoag people traveled on foot for about 2 days to attend. Wall said, it takes so long to get somewhere that once you get there, you stay for a while. Makes sense. Now, what topped the menu? I know our dear friends are not going to love this, but they say venison headlined the meal. Oh boy. Are we going to hear it from the venison? We're going to hear it from the deers. They may be out protesting at the turkey convention. Although there was a healthy selection of fowl and fish, according to the Pilgrim Hall Museum, which cited writings of Plymouth leaders Edwin Inslow and William Bradford, there was a great store of wild turkeys to be eaten, as well as ducks and geese, wrote Bradford, who was the governor. Wow. So they did kill turkeys back then. Who was the governor? He said that. The leader of the Wampanoag people contributed 5 deer to the dinner. Now we should know it wasn't called Thanksgiving. There's no evidence that the 1621 feast was called Thanksgiving, and the event was not repeated for at least a decade, experts say. It takes a long time to get there. Still, it is said to be the inspiration behind the now traditional annual gathering and a testament to the cooperation of 2 groups of people. It showed 2 communities that are diplomatically connected coming together. Plymouth's Plantation's deputy executive said, Abraham Lincoln officially declared Thanksgiving a national holiday. I didn't know that, by proclamation in 1863. I wonder when did the turkey get started? The peace was short-lived. Early European colonizers and Native Americans lived in peace through a symbiotic relationship for about 10 years until thousands of additional settlers arrived. Pickering said, up to 25,000 Englishmen landed in the New World between 1630 and 1642. After a plague drastically cut the native population by what's believed to be more than half, I wonder who brought that illness here. The arrival of the new settlers prompted a fight for land and rising animosity. War exploded in 1675, years after Massasoit and Bradford died, and the power fell to their successors. Many Native Americans have long marked Thanksgiving as a day of somber remembrance. My dog just said, please don't ever get us involved in Thanksgiving. We don't want people eating dogs for Thanksgiving. Thank you, we know that. I'm talking to my little puppies. We don't eat dogs. Jacqueline Keeler, a member of the Diana Nation in Yankton, Dakota Sioux, who lives in Oregon, observes Thanksgiving with her family, but doesn't think of it as a national holiday the rest of the country does. Well, can you blame them? They're kind of like the turkeys, man. Thanksgiving tells a story that is convenient for Americans, Keeler said, but it's a celebration of our survival. I recognize it as a chance for my family to come together as survivors, pretty much in defiance. Similar to the turkeys. So, that's just a little bit of history about Thanksgiving. Okay, so now we're going to look at, from the people's point of view, why we eat turkeys for Thanksgiving. How did they gain traction for Thanksgiving? My dogs, they think they know, but they don't. Now, this is purely from the human's point of view. Now, the turkeys would object to this by stating that the reasons that you're eating us is because it's economical, and that this is wrong. So here we go. Turkey's a mainstay of the Thanksgiving dinner. We all know that. But it's not necessarily the best tasting beast around. You see? That's what they say, the turkey, when you go to their website, they'll say the same thing. Why do you eat us? We don't even taste good. But it's not necessarily the best tasting meat, nor the cheapest. So how did the turkey come to monopolize the holiday? Now, this woman named Michelle Tsai in 2007 explained it, she thinks. Did she interview a turkey? No. On Thanksgiving, most of us will sit down to feast on a turkey dinner. The bird also shows up on a table at Christmas. No, she didn't interview a turkey. Didn't even interview turkey advocates. But she did tell us why they became the most popular bird on the turkey Thanksgiving menu. On Thanksgiving, she says, most of us will sit down to a feast on a turkey dinner. Not me, Michelle. Not me. The bird also shows up on the table at Christmas. Huh? See? How did we end up with the tradition of eating turkeys during the holidays? Well, she says they were fresh, affordable, and big enough to feed a crowd. Americans have long preferred large poultry for celebrations because the birds could be slaughtered without a huge economic sacrifice. That to me sounds terrible, doesn't it? Cows were more useful alive than dead, and commercial beef wasn't widely available until the late 19th century. Chicken was more highly regarded than it is today, but rooster meat was tough, and hens were valuable as long as they laid eggs. Venison would have been another option, especially during the 17th and 18th century. That to me is heresy. I mean, you've listened to my show about how I could never kill a deer and my first time hunting. I never could even pull the trigger, and I never went hunting after that. Venison would have another option, especially during the 17th and 18th century, though it would have required you to hunt for your Thanksgiving meal. That's impossible for Americans today. They can't get off the couch, let alone go hunting. Eating turkey was also in keeping with the British holiday customs that had been imported to the New World. Among the big birds, turkey was ideal for a fall feast. Turkeys born in the spring would spend about 7 months eating insects and worms on the farm, growing to be about 10 pounds by Thanksgiving. They were cheaper than geese, which were more difficult to raise, and cheaper by the pound than chickens. See what I'm talking about? This is all, you can find all this on the turkey website. Cost was an important factor for holiday shoppers because people weren't necessarily preparing just one meal. Thanksgiving was the time to bake meat and other types of pies that could last through the winter. Harriet Beecher Stowe in Old Town Folks described making fruit pies at Thanksgiving. By the 40s and 1500s, and made of everything on the earth and under the earth. The British once served geese, swans. Oh my God. How could you eat one of those beautiful swans? And even peacocks. Oh my Lord. On special occasions. But they came to prefer turkey. See, they're wanted in England. I wonder if I'm going to have to ask if any turkeys from England are coming to the convention. It was first introduced to England in about 1540. Swans, because of their diet, would taste fishy unless they were fed wheat for weeks before slaughter. And maybe that's it. That's my goal. I'm going to get turkeys to change their diet to eat fish. Then they won't eat turkeys. People won't eat turkeys. But then what about the poor fish? Oh my God, I can never figure it out. By 1863, when Lincoln proclaimed Thanksgiving a national holiday, turkeys had taken center stage at Thanksgiving. Americans had started holding unofficial Thanksgiving dinners in the previous century, and while the bird had already been associated with Christmas, the turkey also gained iconic status as a Yuletide meal regarding the same time. The classic menu of turkey with gravy, stuffing, and plum pudding was popularized by Charles A. Dickens' A Christmas Carol, published in 1843, and widely read in the United States. That's when people could still read. Some culinary historians believe Scrooge's gift of a Christmas turkey to the Cratchit family helped cement the turkey's place. We'll have to... Charles Dickens, I used to like your novels, for both modest and affluent households. Among the wealthy, however, this changed around the turn of the 20th century as the birds became associated with the working class and poor immigrants, who often received turkeys from charities during the holidays. And the elites, they just don't want to be associated with us normal people because they're so special. What do they eat on Thanksgiving? Caviar? Americans continue to serve Thanksgiving turkey. We're going to end that. Don't worry. But at Christmas, those who could afford it turned to game and beef. Got a question about today's news? Yeah, I do. How come you did not interview any people who don't eat turkey for dinner and we want to change the holiday? Unfair article. It's fake news. Fake news, as Trump would say. Okay, we forgot one little tidbit here. I'm looking at a picture of our famous President Obama, who was never born here, and who is really a Muslim at heart and wants to destroy America. But anyway, he's there overlooking Apple with his two children, giving the presidential pardon to Apple. That was when Obama was still residing at the White House as your selected boss for the American corporation, not you. So, beautiful turkey. It's going to live a long, good life. One of a million. And by the way, it's an elite turkey. We've already discussed they come from elite families. The average turkey, just like me and you, the average turkey doesn't have a chance to survive in America. Not one iota of a chance. We're all going to be hoarded away, just like the turkeys are in their little turkey camps, to these little FEMA camps. And hopefully we won't be on the menu of the elite like these cannibals in Hollywood and in the Vatican. Did you hear these stories about the Vatican that I had on yesterday? It's incredible what goes on there. And I don't know how people keep paying and keep supporting this satanic church who basically, they're still doing their black mass satanic rituals, killing little children in the bowels of the Vatican, and all these people go worship the Pope as if he's Christ on earth. I don't know how they do it. Each Thanksgiving, how many turkeys do you think have gotten a pardon? When did it start? I'll tell you, if you just be patient. Watch President Obama grant a pardon. Each Thanksgiving, why can't I pardon all the turkeys? I'm an American citizen. He's not even a citizen. He gets to pardon at least one. I can pardon all. I want to pardon all of them. Each Thanksgiving, the president pardons a hand-selected turkey. See what I mean? Yeah. You think just like they're hand-selected to be presidents, they hand-select the turkey coming from an elite family. You think these normal turkeys like us have a chance? Sparing the bird from someone's dinner table and ensuring the rest of its days are spent roaming on a farm doing whatever it is turkeys love to do. Well, we're going to find out, because I'm going to ask them when I go to that convention that I'm speaking and headlining, by the way. 22 turkeys have been pardoned. See? So it only started 22, so 22 times, well, it's 22. They'd have to do it every year, right? I was going to say 22 times 4, but no, they do it every year. President Obama will pardon one more. And you're probably wondering, wondering. Maybe you're wandering too. Wandering around like me in life. Just wandering in life. I don't know where I'm going sometimes. It seems like it's a never-ending cycle. And I always end up at the same spot. Nowhere land. You're probably wondering, where did this very serious business of the presidential turkey pardon come from? You know, I can probably guess. They got tired of eating some of their caviar or something. Americans have been sending the president turkeys for holidays since at least the 19th century. Beginning in 1873 during Grant's presidency. Well, Grant, he was drunk all the time. He didn't even know what he was eating. You know. It's kind of, Grant was like that when he was president. You know. The tolls of war. But he didn't even remember what he ate, probably. You know, when you're in college, you have one of those evenings. You eat, you don't even know what you ate. You don't remember? That was Ulysses Grant during his whole presidency. So you get, it's a turkey? What's it? Did I eat turkey yesterday? My God. Give me a drink. Beginning in 1873 during Grant's presidency, a Rhode Island man named Horace Vose was responsible for selecting with the utmost care the noblest gobbler in all the land for the president's Thanksgiving dinner. A tradition he carried out for more than 25 years, according to the New York Times. And we know they tell us the truth. Oh, yeah. In 1947, the National Turkey Federation took on the role of official turkey supplier to the president, delivering a 47-pound bird in time for the Christmas holiday. That year, the White House also began holding a turkey receiving ceremony, usually in the Rose Garden, providing a photo op that many confuse with the beginning of the pardoning tradition. Back then, however, birds were more likely to be destined for the White House dining table than the easy life on a farm. In 1948, President Truman said he would take the gifted turkey home to Independence, Missouri, where his 25 relatives require a lot. So when did the pardoning start? Here's where it gets tricky. Tales of spared turkeys date back to Lincoln days. According to one story, Lincoln's son Ted begged his father to write out a presidential pardon for the bird meant for the family's Christmas table, arguing it had as much a right to live as anyone. This is my man. Tad, Lincoln's son. Did you hear this word? This is what I'm going to start out with. I've got my speech to the turkeys. I'm going to say, my turkey friends, there is hope. According to a story, Lincoln's son Tad, did you know this? Stood up for you guys way back in the 1860s, and he argued that you have as much of a right to live as anyone. And guess what? Lincoln acquiesced, and the turkey lived. Now let's pardon all of them, people. If Lincoln's son says they deserve to live just as much as we do, then we have a great platform here. In 1963, I always said Kennedy had a lot in common with Lincoln. Let's see if he does. President Kennedy decided to send the year's gift from the National Turkey Federation back to the farm where it came from. You see, he had a heart and soul too. We'll just let this one grow, he said. Sometime around the Nixon administration, the president began sending the turkey to a petting farm near Washington after holding the... See, Nixon wasn't that bad of a guy. Come on. Gets a bad rap sometimes. He wasn't very personable. But, and he always had that kind of funny look on his face. But, give the guy a break. He went through hell and back. It's all a game anyway up there. President began sending a turkey to a petting farm near Washington after holding the traditional receiving ceremony and photo op, although no formal pardon was given. Oh, boy. President George H.W. Bush was the first to actually offer a turkey pardon. And I was always looking for something good this man did. I couldn't find anything up until now, but at least I found something. On November 14th, 1989, he announced that the bird had been granted a presidential pardon. Now, 22, this article had to be written 22 years after 89. So there's been more than 22 turkeys pardoned. Get your facts straight, Greg. He sent the turkey on his way to the perhaps unfortunately named Frying Pan Park in Herndon, Virginia, and with that a tradition was born. Since taking office, President Obama has pardoned 2 turkeys, although in 2009 he admitted courage that year's top turkey came dangerously close to gracing the White House table, thanks to the intervention of his daughter and Sasha, because I was ready to eat this sucker. Courage will also be spared this terrible, delicious fate. I'm told Presidents Eisenhower and Johnson actually ate their turkeys. See, I never liked Eisenhower or Johnson. You can't fault them for that. That's a good-looking bird, Obama said. Oh, boy, I don't like anything he says. So there's a little history on a number of things. We never did get to the real first turkey dinner, but I'll get to that someday, maybe next year, or maybe I'll save it for the turkey convention, and it'll shock you what happened at that first dinner. Really. And who had it. But anyway, we'll wait. Interesting stuff, huh? Now, in my final 20 seconds, please don't eat turkey for Thanksgiving. Join the anti-eating turkey Thanksgiving group that I'm forming. We're going to make this we're going to pardon all the turkeys by next year. We're going to put a nice little vegetarian meal on your table. Free of charge. Paid for by all the turkeys in the world. See you tomorrow on the Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.